So, hello everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on your time zone, because now we are supposed to have people from all time zones. However, there is night in some time zones, and so who is not able to attend due to time or due to being busy, we will provide with the recording. So I am going to give here some interesting information, and I would like to share it with as many people as possible. So, of course, everyone here has been studying a lot about the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. That's why you have come to this seminar. However, there are a lot of new developments since it is science, and science is always developing, and something new appears in science. And today I want to tell you about these new achievements, new developments, and how we all can use them, how we all can benefit from them, and how the entire humanity can benefit from the new inventions, new developments of Grigori Grabovoi. To begin with, let me introduce myself. My name is Olga Toloshnaya, and I have been studying the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi for about 20 years. So first, I was just studying it for myself to achieve some results, to facilitate my events or improve events. So, and I studied more and more, attended a lot of lectures, personal lectures of Grigori Grabovoi in Moscow, in Russia. Then I started to cooperate with him in terms of translating his works. So I translated many of his works. And for the last 3 years, I have been working as professional teacher in the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. Of course, I have great results of myself, of my personal life, and I would like very much to share these results with people, because it is wonderful what we can achieve using the methods from the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi and studying his knowledge. So since I studied a lot of works, actually all the works of Grigori Grabovoi, which are published, and translated a lot of his works, so I graduated the whole academic course, the program, and therefore I'm awarded a diploma of a specialist in the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. Actually, the specialist in the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi is my third major in my life. The very first one was the translator and teacher of English, the second one, lawyer, and the third one is the latest one, the specialist in the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. So I'm a graduate from his education center and awarded a diploma. So therefore, I would like to summarize what can be achieved studying the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi, and to share a bit my results with you. So, you know that Grigori Grabovoi is a famous Russian scientist, and he carried out scientific research, published scientific works, and registered some patents. So, and briefly, of course, many of you maybe already heard of it. I will remind, but maybe some people are new. I will just summarize. What is his science about? So before we come to discussion of the methods of Grigori Grabovoi and his teachings, I would like you to carry out such a test now. So each of you who is here in the classroom, of course, has some dream. some goal which you want to achieve. And now, please, during 30 seconds, carry out the following exercise. Try to visualize that your goal has been achieved and you already got it and you are happy from it and you are satisfied with it. So now everyone in the classroom, please do this exercise. 30 seconds. I'm sure everyone can do it.
Here we go.
So you did it. Each of you has your own dream or goal, and you now visualize that it is achieved. If to try and to concentrate strongly on it, you can visualize it in all the details and even have a feeling that you already has got it. And one question, how have you done it? And the answer to it is in the scientific works of Grigori Grabovoi. Grigori Grabovoi is the first in the world who opened in a human this mechanism through which we can visualize some future events, through which we can build our events. And actually, all the life of each person is built like this, by visualizing the events. If to think anything before you do something, you first visualize, you plan in your mind, and actually by this you build your future event. And how is it done? And how it is done, it is described in the scientific works of Grigori Grabovoi. The first scientific work based on which he defended his doctor's thesis and was rewarded the degree of Doctor of Physics and Mathematics is Applied Structures of the Creating Field of Information. And today we will consider a formula through which the reality is created. The next scientific work, Research and Analysis of Fundamental Definitions of Optical Systems in Prevention of Catastrophes and Focus-Oriented Control of Microprocessors. This is the research work in which Grigori Grabovoi describes exactly this mechanism which each of you just used now. So you visualized your event which you dream of and which you want to achieve. Actually, this mechanism is available in every person, and it can be seen with special equipment or through clairvoyance. And this mechanism is producing a radiation which is coming somewhere in the area near our brain. And this is according to a very rough comparison, it can remind a real light projector. When, for example, a light is coming from some lamp, some lenses, and we see a projection on the screen when we had such projectors in the past. So exactly the same mechanism is available in each person. And it is exactly through this mechanism each person builds his personal life, builds his personal events. And what Grigori Grabovoi did, he managed, first of all, he saw it through his clairvoyance. And then he created equipment through which this radiation can be captured, through which this radiation can be measured and calculated. So since it is a radiation of light, it is really normal light. It has characteristics of physics. And using the formulas of physics and mathematical calculations, Grigori Grabovoi provided justification of this light, which comes from us like a real projector and builds our events. And this mechanism and calculations are summarized in this work, Research and Analysis of Fundamental Definitions of Optical Systems and Prevention of Catastrophes and Focused-Oriented Control of Microprocesses. So now we are discussing the scientific works of Grigori Grabovoi, which actually describe his discovery, how human thought, when we are thinking about something, works. And this is actually always when we are thinking, there is some real light radiation coming, which is actually forming our events. And the mechanism, through usage of mathematical and physical formulas, is described in the work of Grigori Grabovoi, Research and Analysis of Fundamental Definitions of Optical Systems in Prevention of Catastrophes and in Focused-Oriented Control of Microprocesses. I translated myself this work from Russian into English, and of course, since I'm not a mathematician, I was not able to understand exactly everything, but I understood the three main things. That in this work, in this research work, since it is light, Grigori Grabovoi carried out calculation of this light in terms of, for example, illumination, so brightness, in luminous, so in physics. Then, since it is light radiation, it has wavelength. So this is another characteristics which is justified by physical formulas using mathematical calculations. And third, it has some heat since it's radiation. So all these calculations are available. The mechanism how it works is described. And since this is a scientific work and it is explained by physics, what is described in this scientific work can be applied to equipment. How to apply these formulas to equipment? And here Grigori Grabovoi patented this application of this mechanism to equipment in two his famous patents, Method for Prevention of Catastrophes and Device for its Realization, and the Information Carrying System. This is briefly about the science and the scientific works of Grigori Grabovoi. And what is peculiar here, I want to draw your attention in this scientific work, definitions of optical systems. And you can meet this word optical very, very often in the works of Grigori Grabovoi. And this is exactly explaining the fact that our projector works like an optical system, and it can be connected and intensified through other optical systems. And it is important note, because further on we will see how it is used in equipment. And in one of the patents, it is exactly described what I just told you. So the patent Method of Prevention of Catastrophes and Device for its Realization. And the second patent is Information Carrying System. Within this method, where a person generates a bias signal, as written in the patent, a thought is regarded as a weak light signal, as a light signal. And you can see how the radiation of a thought falls into the structure of the organism, into the material structure of the organism. And considering that accordingly, due to the thought, which is also light, one can influence the matter of the organism if we consider it as a wave at the micro level. Then it turns out that due to thinking, the organism, and not only the organism, but the object of the external world, can be normalized. So this is exactly what is written by Grigori Grabovoi, that this is light which can influence our reality. First of all, he speaks about the organism, and it is in the patent Method for Prevention of Catastrophes objectives and device for its realization. Because, first of all, Grigori Grabovoi says that when something happens and when something is wrong in the organism of a person, this is exactly a catastrophe for human body. And first of all, he mentions that when concentrating, when sending the light radiation to this place of the organism, which is in the state of catastrophe or some not norm, this can exactly restore this thought, restore to norm. And not only organism, but any objects of the objective reality. And how? We know all, of course, how it works. We know that when we think, so, and in order to have something implemented, we have to set a goal based on the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. So we set a goal, and then we start concentrating on the goal, setting the goal, for example, to restore a dry tree. And by concentrating on the goal, the tree can really be restored. So, and this mechanism, and for example, how quickly can it be done? So, how long can it take? It depends on our experience, on the work of our mechanism. This mechanism, which produces this light and affects the reality, can be very strong, and we can increase this light. So, and this light actually is the energy which restores matter and which can even materialize subjects like Grigori Grabovoi did. And this experiment, this experiment is recorded by a committee. So, and this mechanism can be summarized by this formula. E is equal V multiplied by S. What is E? E is energy. Energy is equal volume of perception multiplied by the speed of perception. When we see, for example, a dry tree, we perceive the tree. And we perceive not only the tree, we perceive already information that the tree has got dry and we want to restore it. All this is perception. And so this perception has a certain volume. And to each of us, this thought comes quickly, or we have to think more. And we start working on it. For example, if a person is not very experienced in concentrations and carrying out concentrations on the works of Grigori Grabovoi, it will take some time. But if the person has already developed consciousness, the speed of perception will be very high, and the energy will be very high, and the tree can be restored very quickly. So this is the formula which actually discovers the mechanism based on which a person can create reality. So to summarize what has been said, when a person thinks or concentrates, his thoughts create radiation and build the events about which the person thinks or concentrates on. This thought radiation can be intensified with the help of specific methods of concentration and special devices. And today we will discuss these methods and devices. Thought can be transferred instantly to any distance. For example, this tree, which we just tried to restore, should not necessarily be near you. It can be even on the other part of the hemisphere. For example, your friend will show you a photo or just tell, I need to restore a tree. Just an example, help me. And you will be able to do, and no matter that you are very far from the tree. Everything what exists is information. So you saw the tree, you got this information, and you create new information of restored tree. consciousness of a human is considered as an element of the world in which all elements are interconnected. So this is the main points of the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi, which are the basis of everything. And about this formula again, this formula is described, and there is a description and definition of it in the work Doctor's Thesis of Grigori Grabovoi, Applied Structures of the Creating Field of Information. And this is exactly exact quotation from this work of Grigori Grabovoi. The fundamental law of energy generation has been discovered based on the speed of perceiving information. The fundamental law of energy generation, where E is energy, V is volume of information which we perceive, and S, speed of perception. A non-decreasing source of energy deriving from the harmonious of interaction field of the objects and the response field of the object has been discovered. So this is a very short and so looking like that formula, but of course there are very serious calculations which brought Grigori Grabovoi to this formula. And actually as a result we get it and we can easily understand how it works. So this energy is exactly produced by us, and we can materialize even if we develop this volume of perception and increase the speed of perception, we will be even able to get ability of materializing objects. So how to increase V and S? So how to increase volume of perception and speed of perception? So from the very beginning, from the very first works of Grigori Grabovoi speaks about it. The most important thing here is training of consciousness. The developed consciousness of human can allow him to achieve anything in these terms. So by developing our consciousness, we manage to perceive great volumes of information at a high speed, and actually by this energy is increased. The energy of creation, the energy of creating our events. Sometimes people say, how long should we work? So the indicator how long are your results. For example, when I started first studying the works and doing the exercises of Grigori Grabovoi, at that time there was only one book available. These were daily concentration exercises. And every day I did during several minutes, sometimes 5, sometimes 10, these exercises. And these exercises are really magnificent. So I recorded for myself. I had several goals on which I concentrated, and I had always a list. And sometimes the goals disappeared because they were achieved and new appeared. And it happened always. So, and I even now continue for several minutes a day using these daily concentration exercises, now using my PAK 1U device, because I know that they really work. I love them. I love the results which I got from them. So maybe to achieve this result was not very quickly. So, for example, during how I started working, I started to notice the results maybe after the first year of using them. But I really started noticing. And then some results were quicker, faster. My life started improving. I made good career. So family members had very good results, and so on and so on. So indicator for you is your results. For example, that you are achieving something. If you're just beginning, what should you do? So you should do more. For example, to increase the volume of perception by some increased number of concentrations. And thus you develop. So first of all concentration exercises and lectures of Grigori Grabovoi have two goals: development of consciousness and work on the achievement of goals. What is very, I think, and I think it's for every person, good in the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi, in order to learn something, in order to get some results using the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi, it is not necessary, for example, first to study 1 year, 2 years, get a diploma, and then start working it. No, you do it immediately. You do small exercises, and very soon you get results. Maybe you can set a very small goals to make sure that you achieved it. And these small results make you confident, and you continue. So, how you work on increasing your V and S? Daily concentrations, lectures of Grigori Grabovoi, concentration on number sequences, working in the groups, concentration on PAK1U 3 mode 1, and training in the class with 22 devices. So I would say that people who join the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi now are much more luckier, because they, first of all, have more books, have more methods. There are more people all over the world who study the methods of Grigori Grabovoi. So, and now equipment appeared, which can help us to work and to increase our volume of perception and speed of perception, and to develop quicker the consciousness. So when I started, I had daily concentrations and lectures of Grigori Grabovoi. Then a book appeared on concentration on number sequences, one book, then more books appear. Then we started, more followers appeared. I learned more students. We started working in the group on some goals, what people do in internet, what people do in classes while working together. And what we are doing now, we will be working in the group today, using some methods from the lectures of Grigori Grabovoi, and concentrate on our goals. And this work in the group make the work much more powerful. So this collective consciousness, or this sphere of collective consciousness, is described in many works of Grigori Grabovoi. And so now I would say, and Grigori Grabovoi admits it, that this sphere of collective consciousness of the people who are using the methods of Grigori Grabovoi are increasing, and its strength increasing. And these books are gaining more strength. And those who join studying these books using the number sequences or any methods, they join this already formed collective consciousness in the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi, and this facilitates their studies. So, and more, what is more wonderful, this is possibility to concentrate on PAK1U, physical device or online device. And the latest development is training in the class with 22 devices. And I will tell you about the results which can be achieved or by people whom I know or myself, based on this work, which is which you can see here on the list. And to what extent we can develop our consciousness and what we can achieve can be summarized by one quotation of Grigori Grabovoi, from the work of Grigori Grabovoi, Hierocoulos. This is a vision of a person who sees the 23rd century, and in this small passage there is a description what will happen with human consciousness if we develop based on the methods of Grigori Grabovoi. Other vehicles and other helicopters, many were made simply because it was so familiar, but the equipment was such that much of the metal was replaced by thinking. And the man who left the car immediately modified the reality so that the machine disappeared by itself. This was a new technology. This was a new civilization. And he realized that the eternity of machines was in people's thinking. This is the result of the development which starts now, actually, the new era, which a person sees through the clairvoyance of Grigori Grabovoi in the new century. Actually, and it is really so. We are at the very beginning of this new era in which we start developing our consciousness and receive great results using our consciousness. And it is already a reality now. And so in the beginning, we all made an exercise. You visualize your dream. Actually, this is concentration. This is a very simple concentration on fulfillment, on achievement of your goal. And we did it. And for example, just doing this visualization and concentrating strongly on what you want to achieve, on your dream, you can really achieve it. And so we will study one method and we'll practice it from the work, The Teachings of Grigori Grabovoi about God, Rejuvenation and Eternal Life. This is one of the latest work. It was never translated to other languages, and I just finished its translation into English, and it will be published and studied at the seminar. So, and in this work, Grigori Grabovoi says, what is dream? Each person has dreams, is dreaming about something. And actually, the dream is what the soul tells a person that she needs. And to achieve this dream, it is necessary to detailize, to get to build in the mind the details of this dream. Actually, to build the event or to build the thing which you want. And this is also work, a kind of concentration which facilitates achievement of your goal. And now I would like to remind you that as with all works of Grigori Grabovoi, when you work with his seminars or you're present at your seminars, of course, all of you sorry. All of you has your own dream, has all of you has your own goal. And it is recommended by Grigori Grabovoi, when you read his works, you should concentrate and keep in mind the goal. So while doing this, while studying this passage, while reading this quotation, we will you should concentrate on your goal, keep in mind your goal. First of all, we will read the passage, and then we will do this exercise, which is described by Grigori Grabovoi, recommended what to do. That is, this lecture refers to rejuvenation, and therefore the methods here refer to rejuvenation. And now we will do the exercise on rejuvenation. So to compare with what we did before, that is, in the structure of rejuvenation in eternal life, there is such an interesting phenomenon of control as a look into the past, which has a very good series of events. Thus, we can very quickly, if we imagine on the physical level, as if to turn around sharply and see the future, and the feeling that remains of a good past, of good events of the past, can be sharply transferred to the future. And here in the technique of rejuvenation, it is caused precisely by the fact that when you are informationally and physically on the platform of eternal life, in terms of the information development of external information, then when you make such a sharp movement with a look into the future, then the light from the good events of the past that stopped as if in your view on your body or manage to reach them at this moment? I muted again, but sorry, I muted again, participants. So then the light from the good events from the past that stopped as if in your view on your body or managed to reach them at this moment is sharply transferred to the future. Thus, you, as a matter of fact, as if weave a certain fabric of the future. You create the matter of the future due to, in general, previous events or initiatives already created in many respects. This is a very small passage, just 2 sentences of Grigori Grabovoi, but there is a lot of information here. And why I chose this passage, because it is here about this light from which we started this seminar and which actually forms our events. Grigori Grabovoi recommends to turn as if back to the past and choose that period which was very good for you. And actually, during these periods, we produce a lot of light. If you are happy, you feel as if this world is brighter around you. And actually, this is real light, which at this moment is very strong when you are thinking. And this light is always produced. And you can notice, for example, that when you are sad, when you are in a state of depression, the reality as if darker for you. You as if everything is very dim, and this is really your light. So those periods in your life when you were really happy, when everything was good, really had a lot of light. And this is what this passage is about. And now, even now, you can use this light of the past to build your future event. And here is a very easy and effective method of using this light from the past. So, and what we will do now? Everyone, try to remember your past life. Perceive some place in your past life at which you were very happy, where you really felt were very motivated, very joyful. Try mentally remember such moment and then feel this light, and as if mentally send this light to your future and illuminate with this light your future event which you are building. Maybe your body, or it may be any other future event which you expect to build or are planning. So this is the exercise. So 1 minute for you to carry out this exercise. You recall some events in your past which was full of happiness and light. And that feeling, that light from the past, immediately as if draw to the future. And before, in the very first exercise during the seminar, you visualized some materialization of your dream. And now to that goal which you visualized in the beginning, add the light from your past events where you were very happy, where there was a lot of light. So 1 minute for you to do this exercise. So we did it. So now we can compare with the first exercise. In the first exercise, you just concentrated on your goal. And now you use some method from the work of Grigori Grabovoi to increase your volume of perception. So you concentrated exactly on your goal. Then in your volume of perception, what you perceived was a very happy past event. And then you transferred it to the future, that light. So, and it, of course, took you some time. So, but already in this exercise, you increased this V, the volume of perception, in comparison with the very first exercise when we did by just concentrating on your goal, just by visualizing it. So, and how to increase speed and how to increase speed. So, speed is increased by training as well. For example, when we read the lectures of Grigori Grabovoi, in the past, it took me very long, for example, to read a lecture of Grigori Grabovoi, understand the methods, and then do it. Of course, the speed of perception of the methods and doing the methods was lower. But now, when, for example, I was translating and doing this lecture, moreover, PRK1U is always standing near me, I immediately, while first I read before I translate, I immediately, while reading the lecture, follow and do all the exercises which he offers in this lecture. Of course, the speed of my perception is higher, and this speed can be increased more and more. First of all, by practice, by reading the lectures of Grigori Grabovoi. So you spend, for example, maybe some of you did it very quickly, but I'm doing it just reading the lecture. Just when I read this exercise, I already did it. I got with my mind to some past, quickly found some event, and it happened just during reading this exercise. And this is how it goes now. And every person can develop. But this is, of course, not the top development what I achieved. It can be even more and higher. The speed can be increased. So this is, and of course, I have the results. I have good events in my life. I have good health. I have good events of my family members. And I will repeat, by training, this is what can be achieved, that human consciousness will be materializing things. So a very good exercise that we did it now. And one more exercise from the same lecture. This is a very new lecture. The exercises are very easy, very understandable. And so we will read it and we will do it. So, and based on this, here is one more of the criteria for achieving eternal youth in eternal life. Or, for example, rejuvenating, which is mandatory at all levels of development of eternal life. This is to try to draw a certain ray from oneself to a normal event and to know that this event will be. It would seem such an elementary action, but very effective from the point of view of methodology. You should just visualize somewhere around the level of ribs, between the ribs, where the solar plexus is. You draw out the beam from there and at least remember that the norm is in any case ahead. And it turns out that you normalize in this way with a simple impulse. In fact, you normalize all reality. So since the lecture is on rejuvenation, so usually the person who set the goal have a goal on rejuvenation. And so let's do this exercise like this. You form this ray which will go from your solar plexus. And you can set a goal of you healthy and rejuvenated. If you do not want to rejuvenate, you're satisfied with your current age or state, you can just set a goal being completely healthy and seeing yourself somewhere in the future, for example, say in 2025, healthy and young. Um, Spread the ray which is coming from the area between your ribs, between your solar plexus, and this ray goes to that picture of yourself which you will visualize, which you draw with your consciousness, with your thought. This is the exercise, and 1 minute for you to do this exercise. So we did this exercise recommended by Grigori Grabovoi, and actually this is training, and at the same time work on the achievement of your goal. And actually we are here now 51 in the group, and we did a very serious work all together, because as I mentioned, what factors are important here? Collective consciousness, that is, we have all together collective consciousness which we join and which facilitates our goals. We have the consciousness of the teacher who already studied these lectures and achieved the results. So you achieve better results, you facilitate your work through my consciousness. My consciousness is facilitated by PK1U, which is working behind me. So all together, due to all these facts, and plus the lecture of Grigori Grabovoi, because when we read it, we also join his thoughts. So we actually carried out very, very good work by doing these two exercises. And so in this lecture, what he tells about eternal life. So comprehension of all the set processes of realization in eternal life, the realization of youth in eternal life is such that you can completely, based on some of these mechanisms and techniques, realize youth, eternal youth, or youth in eternal life, and at the same time teach all others. So this is actually what can be done by using the methods of Grigori Grabovoi, in this case, the methods of rejuvenation. So, we are now discussing the methods by which we can increase our volume of perception and speed of perception. So these are exercises which we try to do. These are works and lectures of Grigori Grabovoi. These are training in groups and working in groups. And now what has become available recently is the device for development of concentrations, PIK1U. So we started this seminar from studying, from reading the scientific names of the scientific works of Grigori Grabovoi, and I drew your attention to the work optics, that this is optics. This is real light that is coming from us and that is building our events. And we all from natural sciences at school know what is happening with the light when it goes through some optical elements, through lenses or through some crystals. The light is increased, the light is refracted, the direction is changed. These are real physical properties of light. And Grigori Grabovoi managed to create such equipment which can really receive our light, which is coming when we are thinking, can strengthen, increase it, and purify it when it goes inside the device through the crystals. Because the device has outward optical structure and inward. Outward, these are optical elements in form of the lenses. And inside the device, there are crystals. And each device is set, actually tailor-made for the users of this device. And so because the structure of each person which produces this light is different. It's like our appearance, it's like our face. Each person has its own face, and therefore exactly this apparatus by which we produce our light is different. And Grigori Grabovoi sets this equipment specifically for each person who works with this physical device. And this is a very big stage in development of our consciousness and development of all humanity, that we can now, through equipment, develop our light and facilitate our events. So I have been using this device as well, and I know for me this is just to achieve anything. Of course, I have also good goals, because I know that this is always better for me, and whatever I need to achieve, not so affect, not so hampering other people, I can do very quickly. This is just a matter of concentration. I just register, for example, I concentrated for some time and I got it. Mainly, it happened helping people. For example, curing flu or helping a person to get rid of flu, it's not a problem now. Just a matter of several minutes work using the method or number sequence from the work concentration, restoration of human organism through concentration on numbers. So using the method and working on the lenses and using the number sequence, for example, I can help very quickly a person to get rid of bronchitis, and so to facilitate some of my events. So this is the next method of achieving, facilitating our events, by facilitating development of our consciousness by using this device PRK1U, online or physical one. So what is the difference between online and the physical one? So when we're using online, we have to concentrate on it. But when we have physical at home, it still offers favorable effect on us even when we are not concentrating. You can even sleep and the device is turned on and it still continues developing the matter of eternal life, which it actually develops, which still offers favorable effect on your events. And now more and more people use this device, and here I can very briefly enumerate the results which I know have been already achieved. So stones in the gallbladder resolved. The birth of a child passed without pain. Failed kidneys recovered 100%. Body weight very quickly normalized. Health recovery, numerous cases. Outstanding ongoing wellness. Memory improvements. Fast development of perception and lucidity. Increased human activity. Increased performance. Stable feeling of calmness, confidence. finding the right decisions, development of children's abilities, memorizing and perception of new information, increased learning abilities of children for mathematics and languages. For example, while we have our device, my family and my grandchildren are included in the device. My grandson, during very short period, though he was not at school, at that time he was 6.5, now he is 7, was able and learned very quickly to multiply two-digit numbers very quickly. And he can do it quicker than we do it on calculator. So, and now I would like to speak about rejuvenation. Of course, many people want to look young, and not only young, but first of all healthy. For me, and according to Grigori Grabovoi, first of all, youth is being healthy, having the healthy body, first of all. And then, of course, appearance, if a person wants. But first of all, healthy body. And Grigori Grabovoi, as we speak about his lectures, so has 4 lectures on rejuvenation. So the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi about God rejuvenation, the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi about God rejuvenation by eternity, the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi about God rejuvenation in eternal life, and so the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi about God, the methods of rejuvenation in eternal life, and 2 methods from this lecture we have just studied now. And I want to speak also about one very interesting lecture, educational system of Grigori Grabovoi. So actually, I would like to share my own experience of what can be achieved by studying these lectures. We studied them, and there is my colleague, a teacher, also a certified teacher having diploma, Syok, studied these lectures and got wonderful results on rejuvenation. So by studying lectures, not only this, but specifically if to study this plus this educational system of Grigori Grabovoi, great achievements can be done. And what we would like to offer, we want to offer studying, and it is included in the program, studying these lectures in the class with 22 devices. In the previous slide, you saw what people have already achieved by using their own personal device. And for example, it took several months people to achieve this. But even this can be facilitated. Even this speed can be increased, and it can be done by a new offer of development by Grigori Grabovoi, a new class with 22 devices PIK1U. So in September, me and Syok will conduct the classes on these lectures on rejuvenation and educational system of Grigori Grabovoi. And by studying these lectures, we actually will share our experience, and the students will be able to achieve what we achieved, for example, during several years. It should be noted that teachers who assimilated the works of Grigori Grabovoi are able to transmit the knowledge to the students better and faster. So, because you will join the area of consciousness, of our consciousness, and through which you will assimilate, you will master the methods in this lecture better. And these lectures are wonderful. There are a lot of methods on rejuvenation, which the students will be doing automatically by studying the lectures. And plus, there is explanation how it works, why it works, for example, what is the influence of collective consciousness, what is the influence of the society. And as Grigori Grabovoi says, it is necessary to understand his lectures on the by a level of logic as well. So therefore, today I try to understand how his teachings, how his methods work, and that we should understand logically, and what we have achieved. So you can see here me and Syok, and so our achievements. We are both healthy. So my age, according to the passport, though I feel much younger, is 64. Syok is 51. We are completely healthy. I actually do not apply for any medical help to the hospital. So, and it took me, of course, many years plus specific studies of some lectures and doing some specific methods, for example, as the lectures on rejuvenation. But the students in the class with 22 devices can achieve what we have achieved. During the seminar, the students first will study in the class for wonderful lectures on rejuvenation. Syok and Olga achieved miraculous results by studying these works. In the picture above, you can see Syok, age based on passport 51, and Olga, age based on passport 64. Olga and Syok are completely healthy and feel young and full of energy. Now you have an opportunity to repeat the achievement of me and Syok just within 10 days by developing your consciousness with the methods set forth in these lectures. You can achieve not only quick rejuvenation, but recovery of your organism as well, bringing it to the state of young and healthy. And of course, you get an ability to solve your events at a very, very good level, to direct all events and build your events in a very favorable direction. Since the studies in this class are intensified by the operation of 22 devices PIK1U, your results by studying the same works will be many times bigger and faster. During these 10 days, you will achieve what we have achieved during several years, and you will even surpass our results. Our results, if to describe them in a couple of words, represent a calm, full of joy life in conditions of complete health and prosperity. And we wish everyone to achieve this. The common information about the results and experience of people who attended the training in this class include rejuvenation, restoration of health, a state of joy and harmony, a surge of mental clarity and sharpness, and a very high level of energy, never before experienced in everyday life. Actually, after this class, people, by their consciousness, get at a higher level of development. So, if, for example, in doing our concentration exercises, we have to return to the state of concentration, set a goal and control. People already remain in that state, achieve that state, and remain on it when just a thought favor facilitation of event, organize good event of person. And one more lecture, which is very famous, and I will tell some results about studying this lecture by the people. This will be one more fantastic lecture studied during the training, and this is educational system of Grigori Grabovoi. A lot of people have wonderful results by studying this lecture and applying the methods set forth in it to themselves or to their children. The common results, which are very quick and obvious, are among all increased mental abilities, including significantly improved abilities of analytical thinking, proactive and creative thinking, development of ability of controlling clairvoyance, and much more. While studying this lecture, you will be able to apply the methods from it to yourselves or your loved ones. And what is more important, using the methods from this lecture, you can transfer this knowledge to unborn children. The results are miraculous. Actually, this lecture is given to transfer the knowledge to unborn children. And there are a lot of and more people who transfer this knowledge to the children when, for example, expecting birth. This can be done by friends, by relatives, by grandmothers, when they know that the child can be done. This book contains special contains special methods when a person, before the child is born, transfers to unborn child a certain knowledge, certain exercises, some information. And so the results are really great. When the child is born, it is registered by the pediatricians, it is registered by parents that the perception, the understanding, the development of child is higher. Children are developing very quickly. The mental abilities of children are very high. Moreover, there are already several cases that while these methods are transferred to the child before birth, the birth is taking place without pain. So, and what is peculiar about this lecture? So we can mentally go backward. So, for example, to the dates mentally before our birth and transfer this knowledge to ourselves. And actually, if to do this in this class with 22 devices, we will develop our consciousness to that level as these children now, newborn children who already received this knowledge pre-birth. So we will change our development, we will increase our abilities, our consciousness development as if retrospectively. And this can be done in reference to your children, whoever you want. You will be able to carry out these exercises during this seminar with the 20 devices in a retrospective way, applying to those people who are adult already or children, teenagers or whomever using this lecture. So, and it will be also studied during this seminar in September. The class will be conducted by me and Syok. So, and again, to summarize, the results of people who already attended this class. There were a lot of lectures, there were a lot of topics studied because the class is open in the beginning of this year from January. And I know that many people at this seminar are those who already attended this seminar and they know it. So, so in the beginning, the class had 14 devices. Now the class has 22 devices. And they are all connected together. And each person receives the influence, receives the effect, not from only that device he is working with, because the devices are placed on the desks and the person concentrates on them during the studies, but the students in the class receive the effect of all the devices in this class. Therefore, the effect is increased many fold, even in comparison with the work of one device. And therefore, those achievements which I showed you, which achieved by people using their personal devices, can be, of course, facilitated because your speed of perception will be increased due to the work of 22 devices. You will get ability to perceive great volumes of information. And this is very significant increase of this in this formula. Energy will increase due to very significant increase volume of perception and the speed of perception. And of course, the speed of perception is very high in this class with 22 devices. You will be listening to the lecture, and immediately all the methods will work for you, and your goal, of course, will be achieved. So we offer you to study this collection of works in this class, which will take place in September, just in English. This is for the first time when the classes will be conducted in English. The training will take place for 10 days. So, and all these works will be studied in the conditions of the work of 22 interconnected devices that will ensure significant development of your consciousness. And you will get a stable feeling and confidence that your physical body is finally able to develop independently in the direction of eternal life. So the duration of the seminar is 10 days. There will be 3 90-minute classes every day, 2 conducted by teachers and 1 for independent work in this class, with simultaneous concentration on the device PIK1U. So the cost of a 10-day course is 4,000 euros. So of course, it looks a bit high. So, but, for example, if to compare, for example, a movement by train to your point of destination and by a rocket, if such ability or option is available, of course, it is too expensive, but you can choose what way for development to choose, what option to choose for your development. And of course, it will be a very, very big achievement, a very great development of your consciousness immediately after these 10 days. So the benefits of studying in this class, first of all, for you, significant development of your consciousness and achievement of your goals. So since each of you is developing in this class, this is also addition to the collective consciousness, the development of collective consciousness of humanity. And first, what is more, we are helping Grigori Grabovoi with his to get his inventions usable. He invented his device. He organized this class. Of course, it looks expensive, but there are great technologies in this class. And you really get great benefits from it as anyone in the world. We are the first, actually, who are able to achieve this. So if you are interested, you can contact me or Syok and ask more questions or get registered for the seminar. You are welcome. So now we discussed a number of methods through which we can increase the energy by which we build our events. So first of all, this is scientifically proven how it works and described through physics and mathematics. And by training our consciousness anyway, whether we use the devices or not, it will take us some time, but we will be able to achieve the increase of volume of perception when we concentrate and to increase the speed. All the exercises which are enumerated, which have enlisted in the beginning, daily concentrations, lectures of Grigori Grabovoi, concentration on number sequences of Grigori Grabovoi, concentration on PIK1U, and concentration in the class with 22 devices. So going down to the last is, of course, increasing, facilitating the development of your consciousness. So these are very last development of Grigori Grabovoi in the class, of course, gives the highest speed and develops our abilities to build our events faster than all the methods, but still all the methods are effective. And moreover, the previous methods, so for example, some like daily concentrations or methods from the books of Grigori Grabovoi can be used with the device. So today we studied two new methods of Grigori Grabovoi from new lectures. And so now, first of all, we started just without any methods. We just concentrated on the goal and you visualized your goal implemented. This is already a very, very simple concentration, but already work of our consciousness on the achievement of your goal. Then we carried out two methods using the methods from the lecture of Grigori Grabovoi. And now I would like you to use this method for 8 minutes on the working device online, PIK1U. So we will work in the group. First of all, the concentration will be very strong. So we will work on the device online, and we will use two methods described by Grigori Grabovoi in his wonderful lecture on rejuvenation. So I will just remind, I'm sure that many people know already how to concentrate, but if we have newcomers, I will just remind the rules how we should concentrate on the device PIK1U. So actually the device is developed for the 4 types of concentration. Concentration of eternal life for event, concentration of eternal life for rejuvenation, concentration of eternal life for control and clairvoyance, and concentration of eternal life for control and focusing. Since today more methods at our seminar are devoted to rejuvenation, we will use concentration of eternal life for rejuvenation while concentrating altogether on the device online. So, as any concentration, we should start from the small lens of the device. So at different devices, this small lens, because the device is set for personally, it can be placed not exactly in the bottom, but any concentration starts from the small lens. And this is a small lens, and our first concentration is as a kind of ignition to this machine. So we concentrate on the small lens, and our concentration, our thought is concentration of eternal life for rejuvenation. So, and I am rejuvenating until the age you set yourself. That age, for example, which you recalled and at which you were very happy. This would be the best one. And so you set this age, and then you start circulating your eye around the lenses counterclockwise, visualizing yourself young and healthy in the future. And after doing this for some time, then you can carry out the method, the first method which we studied. Recall that moment in the past which was very bright, and quickly, by the effort of your consciousness, bring that light to your future, to that image which you are constructing in the future. So, and during concentrating on the lens, keeping in view the lenses, you can do this exercise. You can repeat it because we will do it for 8 minutes several times. And then, again, doing this concentration on rejuvenation, you can do the second method, visualizing yourself, and there is a ray from the area between your ribs, solar plexus, and you connect yourself young and beautiful, rejuvenated in the future with this ray coming from current you and coming from your body. So these are two methods which we will all together do on the device online. I will share another screen. And this is PIK1U online. You see, it is working on the third mode now, and we will do concentration. So, which is facilitating formation of our events. We start from this small lens here, as explained, and we'll do it for 8 minutes. So now we start. So we finished our concentration, carried out very good work today at our seminar in the group. So we considered what happens when we concentrate and how we can facilitate these concentrations to achieve our goals. So all these methods which are enumerated here on this slide are still available and effective. You can use any of them, but we invite those who want to facilitate the rejuvenation, recovery, or just development of consciousness and development of events. We invite you to our seminar with Yok in September, which is for the first time in English, and moreover, for the first time, these wonderful lectures in English. They were not long ago, the first three translated into English, and the last one, the methods from which we studied just now, just finished it, translating a couple of days ago. And all these wonderful works, including educational system of Grigori Grabovoi, will be studied at this seminar. And in the end, if there is some time, they will be studied new lectures of 2017, Fundamental Laws of the World. So welcome to the seminar, and I know you understand now how it works and why it is necessary to increase. So you are welcome. Thank you for coming to this seminar. And if, for example, you want to give a link or a recording, this seminar is recorded, will be available later for your friends, or if you want to share this information with someone. So thank you very much for coming.
Olga, there is.
Yes?
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much, Olga. It was wonderful.
So thank you for coming. I hope it is useful, and I'm sure it is useful because we actually did a great work in the class.